Okay.
What's going on, guys? I'm Andres and welcome to Thrills and Magic. I'm here with Disney Nuts. I have enlisted some special help to help me out with the topiaries, and we're going to be walking around the World Showcase, grabbing a couple of photos, maybe having a couple of snacks, and I invite you to join us. Here's our first stop at the Canada Pavilion. We have some Bambi topiaries that we're going to shoot.
Pavilion, we're going to take some shots, see how it looks. Hopefully we can get something in the background like the, I guess the World Showcase over there. What do you think? What are you thinking, World Showcase?
Yeah, here is Bambi. Really nice. I like this tree that you can kind of use to frame it, so I'm going to work with that. What else do we have to work with? Just a lot of space. This is cool. This is like, they put this in a good spot, so we're going to take some shots and see what happens. So what's your strategy with something like this where you have a lot of room to work with?
Okay, so...
But you do have the sun kind of coming right down and maybe creating some drop shadows.
Yeah, well, the first thing I'm going to try to do with this is actually shoot it with the widest f-stop possible, and the reason for that is I want this in focus, but I want that out of focus, because the reason is it'll look cool if it's all in focus, but again, you want the people to focus their eye on what you're shooting, which is this. So put your f-stop to the widest you have possible, and I'm shooting in aperture mode. I think you're in aperture mode also. Mm-hmm. So we always set it to lowest, and that way we focus on this guy, and that's it. And then as for framing, I'll try to, make sure that Bambi's like literally right there in the center of the frame, so there's nothing else, and we don't get the people coming out in the shot.
All right, so that was funny. A lot of people were, I guess the microphone on top that I keep on here, a lot of people it gets their attention, and there's people like trying to mess around with you a little bit while you're trying to wait for, a shot to be ready, to be fully composed and done. But we're entering here in the UK pavilion, and now we have a bunch of Winnie the Pooh characters that we can take photos of. From what I can see, there's not really a clear composition, like we don't have the lagoon to lean on, so it's mainly just a brick. I mean, you could probably use that as a good backdrop.
Yep. But another thing like we can do is that since you got this thing here on like it's sort of like tilted, we can probably shoot it in an angle.
Okay.
And that'll probably give it a little cool effect to it.
So I was just asking him about how he deals with, there's a lot of people here. Sometimes there's going to be shots that you can't really get like fully composed while you're here and shooting it. Sometimes you have to do that in post. You have to crop it, adjust it, and it also depends on where you're going to upload it to. So what are your kind of strategies for that? How do you see the composition within what you're shooting?
Well, if it's going to go for Instagram, I always try to think of going like the image being tall, and because that's what usually I try to post on Instagram the most, because it's what gives the most effect when you see something like that. But if it's for Facebook, I go for something wide. But for stuff like this, since there's always a bunch of people walking around, I'll try to tighten it up as much as possible, if that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. And if I have to, I don't want to say chop, but if I have to crop some of the bottom to be able to get some of the really cool effect to include the sky, then I will do that. Also,
we're coming up here on the Peter Pan and Hook topiaries, and it looks like we got something favorable going on. I think that the background looks pretty cool, even though there's a lot of people eating. I wonder if it'd be better to shoot it going from one of the sides there. There's Lewis doing his thing. Sometimes being a celebrity is tough. Been stopped already. Somebody sighted him, asked for a photo, wanted to say hi. It's pretty cool. This guy is like, I don't know what you want to call him. He's like an ambassador of the Disney community. And the fact that we've only met once, talked on Instagram, and he was willing to come out and shoot with me says a lot about the type of person he is and how that kind of exemplifies what the Disney community is about, is just helping each other and kind of lifting each other up. It's got a great vibe to it, and that's what attracts me to it. Just felt I should throw that in there. Let's carry on. We just passed Ratatouille. They announced that that's ahead of schedule. It might open early, which is great. Just crossing the bridge here into France. I'm also trying to shoot one of my princess videos while we're doing this, so it might give Lewis an opportunity to shoot some characters, which I remember him saying he wanted to do. But the first stop we need to make is with the Belle and Beast topiary. It's right there at the center by the fountain. All right, so here we are. The lighting is actually really good for this here. And then I can zoom in a little bit. You get the Eiffel Tower in the back. This is a really nice spot. I'm shooting this around noon, and I'm doing this because the lighting is going to be really favorable for World Showcase as things go on and the sun is coming directly in front of it. We were just talking about the rule of thirds here and how we like to crop with that in mind when you have your 9 squared grid. But once you know what it should be, like if you're putting like my eye here in the corner here to get the composition right, there's sometimes many reasons that you would maybe not do that. Maybe because
exactly. It's maybe like just a rule that's meant to be broken, I guess. You know, but
I would say it's true, but
okay.
you have to learn the rules before you can start breaking them.
Yeah.
Anyway, the next thing we have is Miss Piggy and Kermit, which I do recall that you have a video about Kermit with some fireworks, right?
Yes.
It's pretty amazing, and you should definitely check that out. All right, here we go with Miss Piggy. Wow, this is probably the most elaborate display. Of all characters, Miss Piggy got such an elaborate display. Meanwhile, Kermit, poor Kermit, is like over there on a bike off to the side. Here is Mr. Kermit. He's actually really well lit by the sun. Coming right down on him, so.
Yeah, which is great because it gets the shadows out of the mouth somewhat.
Exactly, so you get more detail. That's the hardest thing, though, is all of that, because it is one color, and the sun, when it's directly on it, can create some harsh shadows. Okay, we're gonna get the Frushi here. We're at Hanami. Let's get in line. So here's the Frushi. I don't know what to make of it, but it looks amazing. I'm gonna try it, and I'll give you my thoughts in a second. All right, so I just had the Frushi. It was pretty good. It wasn't much for the price, but right now we're walking by the American Adventure here. We're gonna go pop over to where the topiaries are, Mickey and Minnie. And I forgot to ask you, what did you think of the Frushi? You weren't too keen on it.
I wasn't too keen. The rice thing was wrapped around in like some type of paper. Maybe it was a sliver of something.
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan of it, but the fruit was fresh, but it was not my thing.
Actually, it was really nice to have something like fruit, like light like that, because it's so hot today. All right, here is the shot that we're trying to line up. So there's a lot of people behind. We're going to use a low f-stop to take them out of the picture here, but the sun is good. The bad thing is that if we can look in here, there are love bugs everywhere. We just got done shooting Mickey and Minnie. That was actually a pretty good spot with the way that the sun was hitting and everything like that. Really good opportunities to mess around with depth of field, which Lewis gave me a lot of good recommendations and strategies for that stuff, and that's the big thing with stuff like the videos that he makes, is that it saves me, who has to travel down to Orlando for only a few days a year. Saves me a lot of time, because he's done there and experimented, and I can experiment a little bit more, but a lot of the hard work's already been kind of done. All right, so they put him right in front of a gondola here, and Lady and the Tramp. This is awesome. You had mentioned you were actually featured by Disney World with a photo that you took at that location, right?
Yes, during the daytime, that is correct.
All right, we're here in Germany, and I see Dopey and Snow White topiaries right over here.
My favorite.
So let's go say hi. All right, so here they are. I shot a couple straight on, one from the side. I see a lizard on the ear of Dopey right there, and that needs to be pointed out. All right, so we took a little detour over to China because I wanted to meet Mulan for one of my other videos. We have this dragon here, which I've seen in a lot of photos on the feed on Instagram, but I've never seen people take photos of these guys here. And I can't tell what they're made out of exactly, but I really like them. All right, so we're just about done. The dragon was pretty cool. I like the Zodiac topiaries that they have. Somebody got recognized again. Must be hard being so famous. But we're almost done here shooting the topiaries here of the pandas. I got a really cool shot that I'm pretty proud of. All right, here we are at the first topiary in Norway. Here's the troll. And is that supposed to be his belly button there? That's very strange. That's something. And he's also the first one I've seen with big yellow eyes that look like they glow. All right, so here is a often photographed pair of topiaries, especially Elsa. So we are going to figure out what I can do differently, because this guy over here, he's already done this one and been copied many times. Now we have just one more, right?
One more.
As far as the World Showcase ones go.
Yes, that's correct.
One more. That's the Three Caballeros.
Yes.
This is a challenge that I set off to do about a month or two ago.
Yeah.
And the lighting was terrible. I tried doing it close to sunset. I was frustrated. There was a lot of shadows. Things just didn't look good. And then I had to enlist professional help. And I feel like not only is the lighting better, it certainly helped to be here during the day, but the angles that you pointed out are what the biggest difference maker was, for me anyway. To go lower, make the things look bigger, just look around a little bit, spend 5 more minutes than you normally would, and look for interesting compositions. You don't know what you're going to get. I went to the Anna and Elsa one, and I shot with all the lenses that I had in my backpack, and it made it look so much more interesting. So experiment. Take time. Take the time that all of this stuff needs, because that's the way you learn, and that's the way that you can develop a habit every time that you're coming to a new subject, especially with something like this, where it's not going to always be ideal conditions, so you're going to have to find creative ways to make it work. Oh, I love this. There's a lot going on, though. Spaceship Earth. We could wait for a monorail. Got the Odyssey showcase. The sun is hitting it directly in the front. I see Pachito's a little uneven with light, but otherwise this is going to be cool. All right, we're going to do it from the fronts and the sides, and it looks like they light it up pretty well too at night. All right, I think that is going to wrap things up. Apparently around, what time is it, like 4 o'clock or so?
4 so.
It's really nice on this side. I think, maybe I'm wrong, if we had started from Mexico and gone this way, by the time we got to this end, it might have been better lighting.
Yeah.
Still trying to pinpoint that, but it sounds like the early afternoon is going to be best for the lighting around here, because we started around 11 or so.
Yeah.
So maybe starting around 12, 1, 12:30, somewhere in that might give you enough time to go around the World Showcase and get really good lighting.
Yeah.
Because I want to say that it was a lot, right now since it's directly above us, it's a lot harsher. The contrast in the shadows is a lot more. Yes. So that's definitely something you're going to have to consider when you start editing. I would say mission accomplished. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to wait a little while before I can really find out how it went, but you guys won't have to wait, so good for you. What are we going to do for a victory lap, though?
I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like we need a victory lap, even though this is probably just, Saturday for him.
Yeah. I don't know. I leave it up to you. Your call. Your call.
Okay. We're coming up to a couple of booths. I might find something for us to try for a celebration, but if not, I'll see you next time. Disney Nuts, thank you so much.
You got it, man. This is awesome. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. I'll see you next time.